you can be full of purpose even if you don't know what that purpose may be.
When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run, I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.
Welcome, everyone. Come one, come all, once again to your one-stop shop for everything mindset, fitness, health, authenticity, and just overall just being yourself and who you are. And welcome to our second episode of the Speak Your Vision pod. Once again, I am your host, Tariq Williams. And, welcome to the channel. We have an awesome interview today set up, lined up for the Speak Your Vision pod. And so I have to say, I look up to this individual. She's doing some amazing things, and she's taken the time to have a conversation with us and talk about her vision. So, we have with us today the one and only Miss Maryland, Natalia Salmon. Natalia, thank you so much for coming today.
Hi guys, hi Tree. Thank you so much for having me. And officially before you guys are being like, oh my gosh, she's Miss Maryland, USA National Miss Maryland. So there's a couple of us.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely interested to hear a bit more about what that exactly means and get into tie that in and learn about the that atmosphere, if you will. And so, but with that being said, to really set the tone to Speak Your Vision pod, one thing that we like to do is really analyze language and analyze words. And so we're kind of dive in to get to know you quite well here. And, hopefully, just talk about, growing just in general. But what would you say would be 3 words that kind of reflect that vision of your past?
Okay, I would have to say resilience. I would have to say eye-opening.
Ooh, okay.
And crazy, but not necessarily crazy in a bad way, but crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right. I mean, hey, that's technically 4, eye-opening, but I mean, I guess we'll let that pass. But so we'll take those 3 words and then we'll dive into what those mean. And so when you talk about resilience, what exactly do you mean by that? And could you talk about some of those experiences?
Growing up, a lot of people, I grew up in a small town in the Poconos in Pennsylvania with you, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And, there weren't too many minorities there. And just growing up in, the atmosphere with European beauty and just overall, feeling like a minority really just took an effect on my confidence. And also just being a first generation American, my parents are Jamaican, just having that, I guess, pressure, you could say, of wanting to make sure, that I am making my parents proud, doing well in school, making sure I'm also being the best I could be. A lot of that could take a toll on mental health. So I just feel like my life so far has been kind of a up and down journey when it comes to mental health. So that's definitely where the resilience comes from, just, getting knocked back down and coming back up one more time.
Yeah, for sure. Getting back up when you feel like, odds are stacked against you in different ways and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned pressure a little bit there. So when you talk about pressure, would you say that's self-inflicted pressure from external places? Can you dive into that a little bit?
It's a little bit of both. Of course,
Okay.
I have a little bit strict parents, they want what's best for me. So just making sure that I'm doing what they expect of me, but also just setting high expectations for myself. Something that my dad has always said is, nothing in life is free and you have to work hard for what you get. And they have, immigrating from Jamaica to the US. So I just have all that in me, just thinking, man, they came here with basically nothing, and I have this great life that they've given me. I need to make sure I'm doing something with it, and I'm doing something well with it. So that's where kind of the perfectionism comes from, or just the hardness on myself to make sure that I'm doing what I got to do. It could definitely take a toll.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And even though it can take a toll, I think that's where that resilience comes from, right? And trying to find ways to break through that, and those different things that can take a toll. So no, that's awesome for sure. And I think that's definitely an example. You talk about resilience and that pressure. I mean, I would say that just getting on that stage, and you called it Miss USA Maryland. Is that what it's called?
USA National Miss Maryland. So UN, if that makes it easier.
Okay. Yeah. And so what got you into that after kind of feeling those pressures and different things like that? Like, how were you able to, what made you even start that journey?
Back in 2016, so I was 17 at the time, just turned 17. I was about to be a senior in high school. I was watching the Miss Teen USA pageant, because I always watched, Miss USA or Miss America, Miss Universe every year, because who doesn't like that? It's like, oh, I wish I could, you kind of have those dreams, like I wish I could be up there. But I was actually watching this pageant, the national pageant, and everyone in the top 5 were Caucasian blondes. So, me already going through that European standard of beauty, trying to break through that and seeing the beauty within myself, I was here thinking, I could totally do that. I'm just as beautiful as those girls. I'm just as capable. And that was kind of it. And I had asked my mom, not thinking she would say yes, because I kind of did it like years before, but I wasn't serious. But this time I really kind of wanted to do it. And I guess being older kind of aided in that decision for her. So she said yeah. And the rest is history at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but talk a bit more too about that pressure then too, when you're walking on stage and everything like that. Like, what is, I guess, how are you able to develop that confidence? Is that something that you struggled with when you were younger?
It's so funny because when it came to stage presence, it came very natural to me. I never really struggled with the stage fright, with walking in front of people. When I had done it as a teen, they had just switched over to activewear, because a lot of times they have swimsuit and then you have evening gown. But for teens now, they are switching more so to activewear, like sports bras, shorts, or leggings. And I love that too. So although I didn't have to dance around in a bikini on stage, I still had to show off my body, show off my confidence, things like that. So I don't know why, but it just clicked. I had fun. I think it's really just because it was something new to me, that that small town girl doesn't really get to experience. And the pageant was held in December, all the way in Pittsburgh, so opposite side of the state. First time being in Pittsburgh, first time being in this kind of environment and being around, oh my gosh, all these beautiful teens and women who have been in pageantry for years and are kind of like professionals, and little old me. I just kind of fell in love with it. I just figured, fake it till I make it. I'm a newbie. No one has to know that. So I can fake it till I make it, and I could leave, and no one will ever remember me. But
right.
But when I actually just went on, everything kind of just went away in the world, and I just focused on my moment, and I kind of fell in love with it. Didn't? Of course, you still have the people around you. You always kind of compare. Now, throughout my journey, I've learned to not compare. But of course, at first I was. But once I did step on stage, I kind of just forgot everything.
Yeah, for sure. Back in my prime, when I would play basketball and everything like that, that's kind of what I thought about, in a sense, and that's kind of how I would almost, like, that's where I felt comfortable in playing and stuff like that. I almost felt like it was stage right to be in front of people playing basketball, you know what I mean? But then you just kind of, at some point, you kind of just get into that zone. And you just forget, and you just do you. And I think that's something to be said for that, for sure. And so then you kind of just stand in the spot and act like you're supposed to be there, and then before you know it, you're supposed to be there.
Right.
So,
It's like no one knows if you're supposed to be there but you. So,
yeah,
you know,
for sure.
yeah.
So would you say that your confidence developed as time went on, or like what was, I mean, how many pageants have you done? And then where do you feel like your confidence has been in between, where you started and where you're at now?
Oh, my confidence has grown tremendously. And I currently am at, let's see, 1, 2. Sorry, I kind of lost track. I'm not even gonna lie. 2, 3, 4.
But I would be counting on my fingers. So
I think I am. I
there
think
you go.
I just competed in pageant number 7 in November.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Cool.
going on, what's it now, 4 years? So 4 or 5 years now in pageantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely my confidence has grown with every single step. Just stage wise, getting to know, getting down to technicality, getting down to even interview, which I feel is where my confidence has grown the most,
Hmm.
speaking in front of people.
Right.
And yeah, I've been getting to know myself more and more, working with coaches, just people who are experienced and could get me, thinking in the pageant mindset. But like I said, I'm also learning who I am. So that's
Yeah.
where, my confidence grew, because I know I'll be able to answer that question, or I'll know I'll be able to, walk on that stage, or I'll know I'll be able to interact with so and so. So just learning those skills from pageantry has not even just helped me, of course, in the pageant world, but has helped me in my just life in general, like
Right.
regular professional interviews, just getting along more with coworkers or teammates and things like that, and walking in a room like I own the place, which is actually what my like little sign says over there. Things like that, I know how to. I have been able to develop how how I how I carry myself in a more confident way throughout my pageant journey. So it's
Yeah.
I love it. It's been such a blessing, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I have two different questions. Hope I remember both of them after what you just said. Um, you mentioned your last pageant being in November, and so we had an interesting 2020 for sure. And curious to know, like how overall your 2020 was, and how you were able to kind of just work through and continue doing what you're doing.
Oh, my 2020 was very, very interesting.
Hmm.
It started off amazing. So my 2019 wasn't that great either. I was at that point in my life that I was kind of lacking determination, motivation, just things like that. Not really, doing what I needed to do, all those things that I would push myself to do before.
Yeah.
And I had actually taken a management class over that winter period in 2020, early 2020, where I learned a lot about emotional intelligence. And that was kind of like a light bulb moment in that 2019-2020 transition period. And the beginning of my 2020 from that point on was amazing. I found my motivation again, was getting all my schoolwork done early. I was volunteering my time all the time. I was just doing so much to better enhance my life. And then, March came. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
actually when I had won the title USA National Miss Maryland in March. But after that, it was kind of a standstill. I got out of routine, and it was okay because the world, but I just was kind of beating myself up more because I felt like I needed to be doing something, even though it was okay to rest. But once the months went on, and I guess it became the new normal, I was able to get back into a routine, kind of, start getting my life back together, you could say. So
Hmm.
now roll into fall of 2020, getting into my senior fall semester. It was different also because I went from being on campus to off campus to back on, but off campus again, just staying in my apartment where I'm at right now. So it was also a new vibe to get used to, working in my room, working in my apartment, and not actually having the space. So I kind of had to reevaluate my life again and really kind of find this routine that worked in my home that would keep me motivated to do my schoolwork. Because it's been difficult. My bed is staring at me, and I just
right. For real, yo. I'll tell you, my bed been straight looking at me all the time, yo, like looking so comfortable.
Yes, light a candle or have some nice smells, and like, I just
right.
Get my room, watch some Netflix or something, you know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Exactly.
It's been you know, a journey, but after a while, I got back into a good routine again, and you know, I definitely had to get into a good routine to go down to Florida to compete in November, which was during Thanksgiving break. So that last week in November. But yeah, it was really after that though. It kind of escalated and then kind of de-escalated. My whole December was really chill. And yeah, so it was a lot of highs and lows and just a lot of, you know, going back and forth, which I feel like happened with a lot of people.
Absolutely. Extremely relatable for sure.
So I'm just kind of, you know, happy I got through it. And I
that's
do
it.
the best I can. Can't be mad at myself. You know, it's a whole new situation that we're not used to. So
absolutely. And so when you talk about, you mentioned mental health a little bit before there too, right? And just trying to work on getting through it, you know what I mean? And getting through those different situations and mental health. And I want to talk to you a little bit too about some of the responsibilities you have with your title, and talk about some of your what does that look like? And I know you've done a lot of volunteering. Could you speak about some of the things you've learned in those experiences?
Yeah, of course. So as a title holder, we're not, you know, just here looking pretty and going to different events. We non-existent, but you know, it's here. We're actually, you know, our public figures. We're doing things in our community, and we're role models. So I do go out and try to make the world a better place in some kind of way, shape, or form. Some pageants have their own specific organizations that, you know, they mostly volunteer for. Others you could kind of do a little bit of anything. Overall, they just want you to really help make the world better. When I was talking about before how I took my management class and it was all about emotional intelligence and that whole light bulb came off, that really became my own personal platform. But I was having a little trouble, you know, kind of putting it all together and really seeing my vision come to life. And that's when one of my coaches down in Texas, Ocelia, shout out to Ocelia.
Shout out.
She actually really helped me make Squad Limitless come to life. So what I do is I introduce children, teens, and young adults to their true identity and limitless potential with emotional intelligence. So I have age-specific workbooks for elementary, middle school, and high school, early college. So, you know, you have your different age groups, age appropriate. And it's really just a basic introduction to what emotional intelligence is and how they can help build it with some different worksheets as well as some fun activities. Because, you know, people, especially younger kids, it's going to be boring sometimes. But I really truly believe that you're never too young to learn what emotional intelligence is. And it's just so
and they don't tell us about that in school, right?
They don't.
That it even exists.
Exactly.
You know?
Why am I a junior at that point? I was a junior in college, just now learning about this. Like this would have made my entire college experience 10 times better if I truly knew like who I was, become more self-aware, and really just how I operate. Because that's really what emotional intelligence is about. Just how you operate, how you work within yourself, and how you work with others. So.
Absolutely. That's so. That's neat for sure. And I think that's, emotional intelligence really should not be understated at all. And a lot of people don't know what EI even is. So,
Exactly.
and we got to find a way to definitely let's spread that awareness for sure. And, you mentioned getting to know yourself, but also getting to know others and really working on connecting, embracing differences and so on and so forth for sure.
Exactly.
So, but that's really cool. So you created Squad Limitless. Like that's all you, that's your own platform.
Yeah, that's my own platform.
Mhm.
Ocelia helped me with the name, of course, but that is my own platform. I did
Shout
create,
out to Celia.
right? Shout out Ocelia. But I did create, it is a community organization. It is live. It is published.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
have, a website up now where you can actually go and see what we're all about and download
Cool.
your own workbooks completely free. And
Cool.
also schedule me for a live in-person or virtual go through of the workbooks. So that
Mhm.
too, as well as, an Instagram and a Facebook. So you guys could learn a little bit about emotional intelligence without actually doing the workbooks as well. So I kind
Yeah,
of hand out tips and tricks here and there, just to
absolutely.
get people
That's
thinking.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you talk about emotional intelligence and your journey and everything like that and all the community work you've done with your title and everything like that as well. What were some of the biggest takeaways you got from working in the community and volunteering your time? And what were some of the lessons you learned in those situations?
Oh yeah. So I have over it's either 800 or 900 community service hours throughout,
Mm.
the past 5, 6 years. So I
That's,
have
that, that, that-
learned
that's a lot of hours.
I did a lot of community service.
And there's only 24 in a day. And a few of those have to be for sleeping, right?
I was,
So
I was, a president or club leaders of a lot of different things. So I had
yeah.
my foot out the door for sure. But I learned so much. My biggest takeaway is really, someone could have it worse than you. Um,
Mm.
Even though
Hmm.
you might think your life sucks, or something might not be going your way, or you could be struggling with something at the moment. But I always have to be great, think about what I've seen, what I've yeah, things that I've seen in the past, and I just have to be grateful for my
Yeah.
life and the things that I have now. I've worked with um, Bread for the City in DC. If you guys don't know, I'm sorry, I'm in the Maryland area. I go to the University of Maryland and I study architecture, minor in real estate
Hmm.
development. But
Hmm.
I had volunteered with Bread for the City in DC and in the beginning of 2020, and we would see people actually come up and um, grab the food that we were packaging right then and there. So and it wasn't like every like hour or so, it was constantly. So I really was able to see people are really hungry. People
Yeah.
really don't have access to food. People don't have access to simple means to live just like that. And it just makes me just think like there's no reason that someone should be without food, someone should be without water, like basic needs
Yeah.
of survival. And
Yeah.
I try to at least help out in any way that I can, to I guess it's kind of like a guilty conscience as well, but also just
Mm.
to help me fulfill that little
Yeah. Yeah.
nuggets.
Absolutely. Well, shout out Bread for the City, you know. Um, and that sounds like a really neat, you know, event and experience that you had for sure. And it is definitely sad to think about people going hungry and not having water, drink, and anything like that. So that sounds like something amazing that you were able to do for sure. And I can't imagine like like being hungry and different things like that and how that would affect someone's mental health, you know
Exactly.
and so and learning more about you and everything like that too, I noticed that you also do texting crisis counseling, exactly, which I was like, when I found out about that, I was like, people, that's even a texting thing too, like this we are definitely in the 2020s, like, you know what I mean, like, believe, like, think about it, in 2005, 2007 or so, like texting wasn't even cool then, You know what I mean?
Right.
And now
But
we're texting
now
our counselors.
everything it's a lot easier now too, though. So maybe sometimes you're in an environment that you can't call someone, so now you can
Yeah.
text. But
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know what a crisis text counselor is, it's basically like the National Suicide Awareness Hotline, but in text form. But it's not just for suicide, it's for any kind of crisis that you may be going through. And it is all accessible on your phone. You text in to the number 741-741. I'm pretty sure it's home. You text home to 741-741, and it'll put you in contact with someone like me who is certified. We've went through training and everything. And I would be on my laptop. So I will be texting you through my laptop, helping you, go through whatever it is that you're going through, and to provide you with tools that you need to make the necessary steps to, make the situation better, no matter what it is. So something that we really try to do is kind of like emotional intelligence. We really want you guys to get to your solution without being told what to do, to kind of, give yourself the power, and to know that, you really can do it. So I try to
that's amazing.
Yeah. And I try to even use, that rapport building, things like that in my regular everyday to day life. And people always call me a great listener. So I guess it definitely helped.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's great for sure. I think that definitely embodies, just overall growth and trying to be there for other people. And the fact that these resources exist,
Yes.
and so many people don't know that, like, things that we've been talking about so far, like, all the different like places for like getting food out to different people who need that and stuff like that. And people don't know like exactly what emotional intelligence is, and people aren't aware that these texting resources are out there too. Like, there's so many resources out there, and I think we gotta make sure that we're continuing to promote those different things too. So thank you for bringing up all those neat things, for sure.
Yeah, of course. There's so much. Even I'm learning new ones every day. Learning new different organizations I could volunteer with, and their mission statements. And there's so many causes, so many great organizations out there helping those causes, and it's just crazy. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we talk about your volunteering, your activity in the community, and creating Squad Limitless and everything like that, what has pushed you to jump into all these things?
It was that class, really. I just felt, I really was just feeling hopeless. That 2019 time, it wasn't great. And I just learned what I learned, I applied to my life, and I found out how great it made my life and how much better. Like, I really felt like I did a whole 180. And ever since then, I still use those tools every day. If I'm, really upset over something, I sit down, try to get to the root of the problem. Like, okay, it's going to be okay, things like that. And I'm constantly, telling myself positive affirmations and things like that.
You mentioned hopelessness. What was it exactly that made you feel that hopelessness, and how, like, what was going on? And you talk about that class, and then what did pushing forward look like?
The hopelessness really just came from me, just being really hard on myself, making it seem like I couldn't do something, as well as, I guess, the societal pressures of just being, a college student.
Unshut out societal pressure.
Right.
Unshut out.
Things like that. And also just being in the pageantry world, it has aided in my confidence, but it also could, hinder it as well. Like I said before, there's so many beautiful women, and even in like those pageant websites or social media handles, you'll see them promoting the same people, all the time. And it could affect you a lot. It's like, why, like, I'm just as good as her, and things like that. So it was just a whole bunch of that, as well as, the number one thing is not knowing how to communicate. I did not know how to communicate my emotions, like what I was feeling. So all of that just bundled inside of me, and I just kept it to myself. And what emotional intelligence has really helped me with is speaking about it. Actually, saying what's on my mind when appropriate, having
Right.
opinions and having opinions,
When appropriate, yeah.
right? And actually, getting things off of my chest and telling people what's wrong when they ask. Things like
Yeah,
that are so simple. Even
yeah,
asking for help with professors and in class, because that was one of the things that was hindering my academic performance, was just simply not asking for help when I needed it. Um, but emotional intelligence has really just made me more aware of that. Like, I
yeah,
am self-sabotaging myself. I need to stop. This is,
yeah.
you know, what I need to do in order to move around that obstacle. So, like, nothing, all those things, they still happen. I still feel sad sometimes. I still struggle sometimes with reaching out to professors, but I catch myself and I'm able to pause and reevaluate the situation and, push through
Mm-hmm,
before it sits too long.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And reflecting on your past and reflecting on the growth and feeling hopeless and transforming that into hope. Shout out We Are Vision of Hope community. If you're enjoying the interview so far, like, subscribe, all that. But anyways, so when you talk about that hopelessness, transforming that into hope and your vision and creating all the different things, getting more involved and everything like that, what would you say would be um, I mean, you had 4 words in the beginning, so I guess we'll switch to 4 words now as well too.
I should give three
But
now.
that's it. So, 4 words would you say that to analyze and really think about? And we haven't even dived in. Well, we kind of talked about the word crazy a little bit in terms of the hopelessness and kind of work through that a little bit and learning more about yourself.
Right.
But what would be the 4 words that would reflect and that you want your vision to reflect moving forward?
I still would say resilience. I feel like that
Mm,
is always like a lifelong term.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would also say hopeful. And
Okay.
no, actually not hopeful. I'm gonna give you the same words from before. Not before, but before. Purposeful and hectic
And hectic.
in a
Okay.
good way.
Yeah, for sure. So you said resilient,
Hmm.
you said hectic, and you said purposeful.
Hmm.
Okay, now you're only giving me 3, so now you switched.
See, I
All
told
right,
you, I'm
so
like, watch me now, only give you three.
that's
Because I
it.
considered eye-opening, well, I consider that one word. You get the little hyphen in there.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. No, that's really cool. And so you talked about that resilience for sure. But when you say purposeful and hectic and everything like that, what do you see your purpose moving forward? And how do you feel like you found what you feel like that? Define purposeful for us.
Purposeful for me is, just doing what you feel as though you're meant to do. Um, Things that you enjoy. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that makes a lot of money or things like that. Just something that you enjoy doing that fulfills kind of like that part in your life. Um, so I don't know what my purpose is. I'm still, trying to figure that out. And that's
Yeah,
why I say purposeful, because, I
yeah,
want to eventually figure that out. And that's where the
yeah,
hecticness comes in, because trying
yeah.
to is going to be a journey. Even now with Squad Limitless, where do I see that going? I do see it growing, but how much? I don't know. Is this going to be right now? It is something that I definitely put blood, sweat, and tears in. But is it something that I might take up full time?
Yeah.
Am I going to stick with my plan with becoming a project manager? With school, am I going to do something in entertainment with pageantry? What people keep asking me, I have absolutely no idea. I just know
Yeah.
that whatever I end up doing, I'm gonna love it, and yeah.
You know, well, I have to say this. When you brought up the word purposeful, right? I
Mhm.
don't know if you've seen this or not, but it really made me think of the movie Soul. Um,
Oh, I didn't see it yet.
yeah, so it really made me think of that. But hopefully that wasn't a spoiler. I don't really think it is,
No,
but
no,
that's
no.
kind of what it made me think of.
I've already heard
Um,
about it, so it's not a spoiler at
okay,
all.
all right, yeah. So no spoilers on the channel,
Yeah,
but
it's my fault anyway. I should have been watched it. So
but I do think it's important to know, and for everybody out there watching right now, is that I think that I don't think you understand the magnitude of even what you just said. You can be full of purpose even if you don't know what that purpose may be, and I think that is so strong because we're all out there trying to learn more about ourselves and continue growing and everything like that. But even though we don't know what that quote unquote exact purpose is, and that sounds cool to know your exact purpose or what have you, it's still there. I think that's so strong that you know that it's going to be purposeful, even though you're not exactly sure what that purpose is going to be, and excited to see the rest of that journey for sure.
thank you. I feel like
Yeah.
also it's, especially with people my age, that's one of the biggest things that we're worrying about right now is our
Mm,
destination, like where we're
yeah.
going, what are we going to do, what are we going to be.
Yeah.
But it's really where the resilience comes from now. It's all in the journey, you
Yeah.
never, life's going to take you in so many different places. Just don't fret too much, don't think too much about what's the future may hold. Just sometimes it's okay to just relax and enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great message for sure. And I'm co-signing that. I'm co-signing it for sure. You know, and I think this has been great. Shout out Squad Limitless. Um, and it's great to hear all the great things that you're doing and moving forward, and what that vision looks like, and speaking your vision and bring it to fruition, and talking about a time where you weren't sure what that vision was going to look like, and it was on accident that you started doing pageantry and jumping into all these different avenues and learning more about yourself. Learning more about yourself.
Right.
Exactly. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you have anything else that you would, words of advice, words of encouragement for the people,
Yeah.
any thoughts or anything? Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with my favorite quote, which is "Embrace the glorious mess that you are." I feel bad because I don't remember who it's from,
Okay.
but I truly
We'll
believe this.
find out who it was and pop it up on the screen
Right.
somewhere.
We have Google. That's what Google's for.
That's it. That's it.
I really truly believe that that's wrapped up my entire life and will continue to wrap up my entire life. It's just embracing the glorious mess that I am, because life could be very hectic. It could be messy. You never know where it's going to take you. It's a roller coaster. There's times that you might feel down, but you got to get back up again and
That's
just
it.
embrace your uniqueness.
That's it. Absolutely. And repeat that. Repeat the quotation again.
I'm sorry.
Repeat that again. The quote.
Oh, embrace the glorious mess that you are.
Embrace it, everybody. That's solid. That's a solid message. Love that. Love that. All right. Awesome. Well, Natalia, thank you so much for joining us today. We thank you so much for your time. I think that's such a powerful message that you came on here and speaking your vision, speaking your truth, and that's what it's all about. So thank you so much. I really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first guest. So thank you so much for coming. And if you enjoyed the Speaker Vision pod, like, subscribe, do all those things. Probably throw up a few videos if you're watching this on YouTube. But with that being said, thank you everybody for coming, and have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, week, month, year, and beyond. Take care, everybody.
When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run, I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.